That's what the Quran is saying. A lot of people are saying we don't know the Quran is from God or not. The Quran is saying if you doubt it's not from God, what you have to do is very simple. The Quran comes in units or surah or chapters. Some chapters are 3 lines, 4 lines, some are hundreds of lines. You have to bring a chapter like the Quran. There was a challenge in other places where...
Wait. The thing about a religious writing, it's like Jesus, yeah? Jesus, there was a story about a man who did kind deeds about 2,000 years ago. Right? Someone told that story to someone else, and the story went on. But of course, people added to the story, people took things away from the story. So you cannot challenge the true where Christianity, where the Bible, where Jesus came from. Because it's a story that people added on.
I'm sure you're going to have that discussion with the Christian, right? A nice discussion. But when we're talking about the Quran we're talking about is something that has been transmitted through memorization. Do you have a concept of memorization among the Muslims?
Well,
among the Hindus, among the Jewish people in the past.
The Quran written down. It was written down by Allah, so I can understand. By God.
No, it was God's speech transcribed by human beings.
Right, okay. So there was the first transcription. So what's the original transcription?
When the Quran is transmitted from memory to memory, heart to heart, mind to mind, where's the original? The original was with the Prophet. And the Prophet then transferred to the hearts of his companions, thousands of them. And they transferred to thousands and hundreds and thousands until it came down to us. So yes, you can then actually examine it. Can we go to the original transfer of this Quran, original source? So what you have to do is very simple. You go anywhere in this world, planet Earth, and you say to a Muslim, okay, you believe in the Quran, recite this surah. And you go somewhere else in Indonesia, you go somewhere in Uganda, you go in Philippines, you come to America or in England and say recite this surah. And if you find people are reciting the surah and they're saying, I learned it from my teacher, who learned it from his teacher all the way from... And it's the same, then you will have utmost confidence that it has been preserved, right?
It's a set of values, a set of...
No, I'm talking about when it's exactly word for word, letter for letter, then you will say, now I'm convinced and I'm confident that the Quran has been preserved in its transmission.
Well, difficult to quantify, but I can understand your logic.
Okay, it's easy to demonstrate. What you have to do is simple. You just go anywhere in the world and ask the Muslims, read the Quran as taught by the Prophet, and go somewhere else. Go anywhere in the planet Earth and check with any number of people that you want. And if you find that yes, when they claim that I learned from this from my teacher, and they give you this change, and someone else also does the same thing to you, and then you find that yes, they're exactly the same, then you will be...
Christianity, Hinduism,
Really? Okay. Okay. You do the Lord's Prayer with a Christian. On your left, on your right, on your front, and you ask them, recite the Lord's Prayer exactly as it was written by the original scribe, and ask another Christian.
Well, it might vary.
Okay, so now when we're talking about the Quran, if I say recite Surah Al-Fatiha as taught by the teachers, and you find this chapter is recited exactly the same, to the same teachers all the way back to the Prophet, it doesn't vary.
It's a book. The Quran is a book. It's Bible.
You see, you're confusing again more with the book with memory. I'm focusing on memory, you're focusing on book. Do you know why you're shifting to a written word? Because you don't want to deal with the preserved oral word.
A word that the teacher's got to learn, so I'm to be able to convey it to his people. You've got to have a book. You can't just memorise the whole Quran.
Yes, you can.
Memorise the Bible.
You can. How do people memorize the whole Quran? How do they memorize it? People didn't have writing materials.
I did. The Egyptians, ancient Egyptians.
How many books do we have from them?
The ancient Egyptians.
Good. How many books have the ancient Egyptians left us?
I don't know. I'm not an expert.
You just said they did. How many books can you find in the museum?
Also, the ancient Egyptians draw on the page. Draw pyramids.
So now you're talking about writing on the walls, writing on stone, right? Right.
Even the cavemen.
My friend, Mo, listen. Right. So if I write the Quran on a mountain, are you going to carry that with you and teach your friends and your students?
It's going to be there for millions of years.
No. Is that how you're going to teach your students? Oh, come to my mountain.
Well, obviously not, no.
Right. So we're talking about books. How many books people had at that time? People didn't have writing materials.
I appreciate Islam, I appreciate the Quran.
So,
it's a set of beliefs. And of course, it's your duty to live by the Quran and the rules.
So what we are establishing is this. When the Quran challenges someone to bring a chapter like into it, like I discussed earlier, the challenge needs to be understood. My friend Chris earlier here, he brought and said, you know what? I give you something better, something more beautiful, Psalms, and this and that, without even understanding the challenge. He failed before even he started opening his mouth. You know why he failed? Because he misunderstood the challenge. Right. So that was what we were discussing, but unfortunately he doesn't understand, like many of his friends with him, he doesn't understand this for some reason. When the Quran says bring a chapter like it, it has to be like it.